Obviously, Nigel's talked about a lot about Handsworth. The dovecot is amazing. First recorded in 1530s, so it is proper Tudor. And obviously, we connect it with Handsworth Hall, which is about, I would say, half a mile away. There were always talks. There was tunnels here, there, and everywhere, especially from the Cross Keys. I think Cross Keys is the only pub which is actually in a graveyard, which is quite amazing. Or there might be another one, but there's two, is there? Which is quite amazing. And somebody who was actually in the cellar, and they were doing some digging, and they did find an actual tunnel, but then it realised it wasn't a tunnel; it was just an extension dug into the rock for the cellar, but they bricked it up. So whether there is tunnels. This is a scary story. I did find the tunnel when I was a kid. It was near Orgreave Pit, which is only 3/4 of a mile away. And when my friends told me about it, her friend's brother told me about it. So we took torches, and this tunnel was about this big. And we thought, great, we went into this tunnel. And we went down about 50 yards, and the roof had collapsed. But everybody had gone over this collapsed roof. I don't know, it scares us mad into what you did as kids. And we carried on going down this tunnel, and then the roof had collapsed, and we couldn't go through it. But it went down about, I don't know, like 75 yards or something like that. But all the kids did it. So there were tunnels, probably part of the Orgreave thing, but it scares me now thinking about it. So anyway, the Handsworth Hall, obviously, originally something to do with the Earl of Shrewsbury. Apparently, he had his residence there. He was married to Bess of Hardwick, so we got that connection. I mean, Peter will know better than me that apparently Mary Queen of Scots did go riding a lot and in the area, so there's a good chance she was at Handsworth Hall. And when you think about the dovecot being the same age or older, I wonder if she ever had any of our pigeons. You know, we don't know, but it's a nice thought, isn't it? So, I can't read this. It says holly, but Nigel's already done the holly. So the other things which we're quite proud about at Handsworth, obviously the sword dancers. The sword dancers go back to, well, the first recording was actually at the nursery in 1867, and they were dancing there. But we know now, looking at the team, it wouldn't have been the Handsworth team. The Handsworth team didn't start until about 1888. It was a Woodhouse team. The same dance, they did 13 figures where Handsworth only did 11 figures. In 1887, the Woodhouse team stopped. We've had 5 or 6 writings and a thesis about the sword dance, and nothing actually said. Well, the conclusion was they're into cricket, they're into gardening, and so the Woodhouse team packed up. In some of my research, I came across the list of the Woodhouse dancers, and as I was searching through, I found one who had over 50 convictions. And I remember this Saturday morning especially, I was shouting up to my wife going, "Helen, look what he's done now. He's being done for exposing himself. He's being done for nicking chickens and eggs for a front garden." And then in 1887, he was convicted for attempted murder, and he went round. It was nationwide. It was all in the newspapers. He went round to his brothers because his brother had a housekeeper, a widow, living with him, and he was going to sort the situation out. So he started beating his brother up, and she came down and said, "What are you going to do? Kill him or something?" And at that point, he started beating her up. It was very nasty. She nearly died. If she had died, he'd have been hung. He got 2 months. That's all for beating. I know, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, he got 3 months for nicking chickens. So, I don't know. So if you can imagine, the sword dancers at that time said, because they were still quite young, who's going to go and tell Walter we're going out dancing, but he's not coming with us. This is why we think, putting 2 and 2 together, why the Woodhouse team packed up. Within a year and a half, it moved to Handsworth. There were 4 brothers working down the pit with one of the Woodhouse men, and 2 of the Woodhouse men came over and taught the dance to the Handsworth men, and that's where we get the Handsworth sword dancers from.
I think you should say the present team are beyond reproach. Good.
They're still going.
Is this an 1888 uniform that they wear?
Well,
is it from that era?
Yes,
it is.
basically.
I mean, if you go, the oldest picture we've got is 1891.
Right.
And just like magic, I can pull a picture out.
Oh.
And there was some military connection, was there?
No, looking at the uniform, the dragoons were in this area, so it was a fabrication of the dragoons. So I mean, there's like lightning into it. So this is the oldest photo of the team, and if you have a close look at that, some have 7 stripes, some have 6 stripes. And this was literally 4 years after the Handsworth team had started. So there's a good chance some of these jackets were Woodhouse jackets. Now one of the Woodhouse dancers, he was a tailor, and his father was a tailor, and his grandfather was a tailor, and they're all Woodhouse born and bred. It's very awkward because it was called Joseph Rhodes. His dad was called Joseph Rhodes, and his grandfather was called George Rhodes. But they're all tailors. And if you actually have a look, the daughters and the wives were also dressmakers. So we think that's where the uniform came from. And he was the one who was very influential in the Woodhouse team. He actually said that there was a chance in one newspaper, which was a right red herring, that the actual sword dance might have come from Dronfield, because for a while, Junior Joseph Rhodes lived in Dronfield, and they said he brought it over from Dronfield. But then it could have been meaning Senior Joseph Rhodes. But there's no evidence of any sword dancing in Dronfield. And considering most of them were Woodhouse born and bred, we think that was a red herring. But we don't know when it started. We do know that the team at Woodhouse who danced at the nursery was an established team, because the newspaper article actually says they were in neat uniform, they had clowns, they had musicians, and they were very efficient. Maybe that was from a novice's point of view. But looking at the names we've got from the last Woodhouse team, none of those would have been dancing. So it was a generation or 2 generations before that in 1867, which would have been dancing. So we don't know how far it goes back. We always say it goes back to 1850s. Well, if they were that good, they probably did. You've also got to think about around that time, people were getting a bit more leisure time. They were getting having days off, half days, and this is why the football started at that time, you know, because people could go and watch football. So a lot of things started because of that half day off on Saturdays and stuff like that. But Handsworth sword dancers generally danced on Christmas Day because it was the only day which they got off time. We do have a film which I'll pull up of 1925, them actually dancing here, just literally in front of the tree. Which is absolutely amazing. Somebody slowed it down, we can actually see the figure, and he's put colour on it as well, which makes it look bizarre. It's got quite an interesting history to the scene, especially with the Woodhouse team. If people are interested, there is a Handsworth sword dance walk, which we do. It's literally around the village, and things will be pointed out to you, like one of the sword dancers, there was a lot of naughtiness going off, was spotted jumping over the wall going towards his house, which was just over there, and with chirping coming out of his pockets. And he was reported to the gardener, which as you come down the drive, at the gardener for the estate here was at the top of the drive. So this young girl, 14-year-old, went and reported him, and they went to check the vicar's garden, and there was 5 or 6 chickens missing. And his wife had the shop across the road, and it says fresh chickens and meat, and we know how fresh they were. So there was quite a lot of Well, to be quite honest, all the naughtiness people want to read about. So when I did get a chance to do any more research, I would just be looking at the naughtiness and happenings in Handsworth and Woodhouse Parish, because it's quite fun now. It was awful when it happened, quite fun now. So any question on sword dancing before I'll move on.
I see the swords were made by, certainly some of them by Tysex, weren't they?
Yeah,
I don't know who the early ones were made by.
Well, we've got an idea when Cecil Sharp, I'll give a quick description of Cecil Sharp. Cecil Sharp was the guy who started the English Folk Dance Song Society. In 1899, he was, before 1899, he was actually a song collector. He, like lots and lots of people out there, upper middle class people, went collecting all the traditional old songs. And then suddenly, in Boxing Day 1899, he was at his mother-in-law's house, and a troupe of Morris dancers were coming down. Normally, Morris dancers start in the spring, but they were iced out. They were quarrymen, and it was Headlington Quarry Morris dancers. And he thought, good grief, I've never seen anything like this. And what's these tunes? So he started collecting tunes, and he started collecting dancers as well, which took him in a total different direction. And then he started looking for more and more dancers. And then he found sword dancing, and he went to see Grenoside, and then he, out of a bit of desperation, he started sending postcards to all North Yorkshire to see if there were any more sword dancers. And there was a vicar who had been in the Handsworth area, said, well, I saw one in Handsworth and Woodhouse and Orgreave. So he, through vicars and doctors and stuff, they found out the Woodhouse, old Woodhouse dancers, and then got to here. And they came in 1913 to see he came on a wintry day in January 1913 to see the sword dancers, but there was snow all over, and so they went into one of the pubs, and instead of it being a circular dance, it was a bit tight because it's a long dance. In fact, I remember going in that pub as it was like that, because when I was underage drinking, my friend's mum and dad were always in that pub, so if we went about 9:30, we knew we'd get a free pint because they were half on the way. so I remember that it was quite a long room where they actually danced. And Sharp came 4 times altogether. He filmed them in 1913 as well, and the film is actually last seen in America, and it's been lost. We do have 4 stills of that film left. And and then he was coming to see them dance again on Boxing Day, and then war opened up. And the next letter we get from Cecil Sharp was, I hope you men have all came through the war all right, which is quite a striking letter. And they had, because most of them had been down the pits. They didn't have to go to war. But quite a few of the we always used to dance in front of the War Memorial in front of Handsworth Church, and I suddenly thought in 2018, I wonder how many other sword dancers are actually on the war graves. So I went searching for there, and there was quite a few who had actually been to war, had bombs blow up at the side of them and survived, and then became sword dancers later. But so the history of sword dancers just explodes the more and more you look into it. So it's been fascinating. I didn't expect to talk much about sword dancing. So any more questions on sword dancing? No, right, fine. One of my passions, and this is just me going off on one, is Knurr and Spell, and nobody knows about Knurr and Spell, or generally, no.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do, I'll tell it because we actually restarted the game. It hasn't been played for 40 years. And I came across these 2 photos in I live at Thurgland, which is Workley, on the side of Sheffield, your end.
I know.
Yeah. And these 2 guys are in our local history book, and I thought, what on earth is that? And then I watched a film, and in 1933. This is still a 1933 film. Now, in the background, you can see our house. Well, you would if it had been built in 1933, or you can see my. So I thought, oh, this is good. And then I came across a book which is all about pub games. In the back, it said lost games which have been defunct, and that was like a red rag to a bull. So we've actually started getting the game going, and you can actually see us playing there. Now, I've just been told that this guy, his stick, I'm going to get one of his sticks, which I'm quite excited about. So he was a champion at the time, Jim Crawshaw from Stocksbridge. I'll quickly show you. This is our original stick, originally quite bendy, but we don't bend it anymore. The heads are a nightmare to make, so we're not doing. But in principle, this is how it works.
Shoots up, doesn't
Yeah, it does shoot a ball up. We can.
And you whack I know, yeah.
So it shoots the ball up, and you hit it as far as you can.
Yeah.
It's called poor man's golf,
Yeah.
and originally Knurr is not of wood, so it's it was quite big, probably the size of a golf ball. This is what we let the kids use, these foam balls, about that size, and they always made sure it was dimpled, because as it flew it will go further if it was dimpled. And they said, oh, like a golf ball. They said, well, exactly. Knurr and Spell did the balls first, and golf balls put dimples in because of Knurr and Spell. Then after a while they started using these, which are potties, and these are basically little ceramic balls used to put in the kettle, and they used to rattle them in the kettle to keep the lime scale down. And then they realised these were better than taking a week whittling down some hard wood, a knot of wood or whatever. So they started using that. Now the record, you can see Yanks, this Barnsley bloke. He's just about to whack the potty there, and the record is actually held by a Grenoside man, and he's up there, 1940. He hit it 353 yards, which is 3.5 football fields, which is incredible. So we're hitting our potties, which are actually snooker balls or pool balls. You can play spots or stripes. We're hitting them about 100 yards at the moment. So. But we've had 4 games, so we're continuing with that, and it's taken a lot of time. I'll just the sticks are more or less impossible to make, and I'll show you why. This is the head, a pummel head, and they get a piece of hornbeam or alder, and they squash it down so it's this size. Then they stick this onto the back, put a stem on. These are changeable. The stick is more important than the head. The heads get damaged quite easily. The stick is the length, and they actually work from that length to actually hit it. But it would take a good week to squeeze that down, so it was so hard. Probably a fortnight of evenings to make a head. So it is more or less impossible to make. We have this guy here. He won the World Championship in 1969. He earned £200 for that. He's probably the last person who actually made these. He's 86. It's a good 86, but he's the last person to make these. So that part of the game has gone. So we use hockey sticks, hurling sticks, anything. As long as they hit it, that's the main thing. So, yeah. So that's a brief look at that.
What does the spell bit mean?
Spring. Spring spell. That's what we think it is. So, I mean, they literally dig in the floor. And the precision of the spell is incredible. Because I was with one of the old tippers, potty knockers, lakers, you could call it, that's the names of the players. They sink it into the ground. He measured exactly 111 inches and put a golf tee in. And then he measured them to where his foot goes. And when he set his thing up, he was releasing it, and the potty was actually hitting the tee. And if it didn't, he'd just move it slightly, and every time it hit the tee. And obviously there's adjustments so you can have it going higher, but generally they want it there. They know that it's going to be there, so they're going to swing it as fast as they can. And as I say, Yanks here, you can see the potty. The potty's only going to move about that far before he gets that pummel head to actually whack it, and they were hitting it generally 200 yards. Prize money back in 1800s was ridiculous. I mean, you're talking 200 or for a match, 100 a side and stuff like that. But the biggest amount I found in the 1890s was £600 at 300 a side. Where did they get that money from? Backers, backers, pub landlords, whatever. My lad can beat your lad. It's like a boxing match, and so they used to challenge each other. Queen's Ground in Barnsley was like the Wembley of Knurr and Spell. There was more money be earned in that than cricket. So if there was a cricket match, people would go up on the moors and pay sixpence to go and watch the Knurr and Spell rather than the cricket, because they wanted to see the big hitter. I mean, we've got Freddie Truman here, the old cricketer. He's playing, and apparently in '69 he did have the biggest hit. But they never found his potty because they said he's not having the money. and another Grenoside man, 1900, he actually, they worked out in the 30 years he was playing, started playing in 1890 to about 1925, his prize money, they've added it up, it was over £4,000 just in prize money. So, I mean, you can build a row of houses with that kind of money back then. And apparently, when he was practicing, he had a sheepdog which he used to go and find him and bring him back, which is great. And you'll find potties all over. They're actually in North Sheffield and Barnsley. You'll find them in the fields everywhere, and people say, "Oh, I found a marble," and
They're not.
They're not.
They're potties.
They are potties.
Yes.
And so anyway, that's Knurr and Spell.
Not
Is it
big
a particularly
marbles.
local pastime?
It was Joseph Strauss. He wrote about it in 1801, and he said it was northern Knurr and Spell, northern counties. He said originally it had been bat and trap, where you play with a stick which flies it up, and he says, but generally it was northern. So it did go right up to Newcastle and Scotland and places like that. I mean, it went to Australia and America, but it was only because Yorkshire people took it over there. So, but generally it was Yorkshire, Lancashire, and and the World Championships only really started in '79. To 78, finished 79, started 69. There was a few others after that, but really it was just champion against champion. One guy wrote that Jim Crawshaw was the champion out of the spell, which is the spring, where he was the champion out of the sling, which is a little string, and it's like teeing off from a string. That was the Lancashire way. We always did it out of the spell in Yorkshire, but it is based. The last 150 years, it was definitely Yorkshire, Lancashire, Northern, and So, but no, it's good to restart the game. It's hard work, but we've got.
Did women go and watch it or not? Because my mum used to talk about it, and I don't know that she'd heard somebody talking about it, growing up, or whether actually was it only a man-only sport.
I think it was generally a man-only sport.
Yeah, well, she must have heard people talk about it.
But I have seen pictures with the women that are there.
Yeah.
There's 3 films worth looking at. 1933, if you put Knurr and Spell in, 1933 film will come up. There's one in 72 which is hilarious because you got Barnsley against Lancashire. And Barnsley blokes are going, I'm on committee and he's not allowed to play. It's proper, I mean, it's fabulous. And Freddie Truman's ducking around in the background, keeping out at the arguments. And they go, oh, now then, Flowers, where is he? Oh, come on. And Nigel Flowers is a good friend now. He's in the middle of that picture down there, and he's the one who's just given me all these archives. And that's why I've been able to put a book together of all these archives. And he's just about to give me the press, which squashes the pull down. He's going to weigh a lot. I can feel my back already. And he's going to give me the stick from Jim Crawshaw. And he says he's got another spell for me as well. But